Today we'll be talking about sex determination. We will learn about how some of us were born girls and others were born boys. We'll also learn about how we get the features that define us as boys and girls. We'll learn about what happens if the features that define us as boys and girls are existing in one individual. Please subscribe to this channel to be part of the family, and also don't forget to like this video, comment and share. Sex determination in humans is controlled by chromosomes, the X and Y chromosomes to be specific. A chromosome is a thread-like structure found in human cells. It is located in the nucleus and it contains the DNA or the genes that control the features. So the chromosome is a structure that is found in the nucleus of human cells, and it contains DNA or genes that carry the genetic material that define how we look, or that also determine who we are as a boy or as a girl. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, making a total of 46 in number. And out of the 23 pairs, the first 22 pairs, or the first 44 chromosomes, are non-sex chromosomes or autosomes. And these are the chromosomes that control most of our features, such as the height, our eye color, our blood type, and so on. The 23rd pair is sex chromosomes, the X and Y chromosomes, and in a female it is XX chromosomes, while as in male it is XY chromosomes. Sex determination is done this way. We all know that for a baby to be formed, an egg must be fertilized by a sperm. Since females are XX, they can only contribute X chromosome whenever they release an egg. So if the egg that the female releases is fertilized by a Y sperm, a sperm that contains Y chromosome, then the baby will be a boy. But if the egg that the female releases is fertilized by a sperm that contains X chromosome, then the baby will be a girl. I will take that again. If the egg is fertilized by a sperm that contains Y chromosome, then the baby will be a boy. But if the sperm that is fertilizing the egg contains X chromosome, then the baby will be a girl. So the biological sex of a baby depends on the chromosome the sperm contains, and therefore a woman who is giving birth to only female children or only male children cannot be blamed. Neither can you even blame a man who has only daughters or only boys, because the sex of a baby is divine intervention. The Y chromosome plays a specific role in the determination of the biological sex of an embryo or a baby. In the Y chromosome, there is a gene known as SRY gene located on a region on the Y chromosome. The presence of this gene leads to development of testes, and testes produces testosterone hormones. These hormones are responsible for stimulation and development of the male characteristics, such as the penis, the scrotum, the epididymis, and others. Since a female has excess chromosomes, the absence of the Y chromosomes also means the absence of the gene SRY, and the absence of these genes give chance to development of ovaries, and ovaries produces the hormones that also stimulate the growth of the female genital characteristics. After fertilization, the embryo in the early stage has similar structures in both male and female fetuses. But after 6 weeks begins differentiation into male genitalia and female genitalia. So let's understand what goes on to differentiate into a male genitalia. In differentiation into a male genitalia, this is mainly triggered by the gene SRY on the Y chromosome. In the male embryo, there is a structure called mesonephric or Wolffian ducts. And this duct is what will give rise to later internal organs in the male. But the production of the testosterone hormone triggers this duct to differentiate into the other organs such as the penis, epididymis, vas deferens, and seminal vesicles. Some of the hormone, testosterone, is also converted into dihydrotestosterone, or DHT for short, by an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. The DHT is what also drives the development and growth of the scrotum, the prostate, and then the penis enlargement. The presence of another hormone in a male fetus or a male embryo called anti-Mullerian hormone leads to the regression or disappearance of the paramesonephric ducts in the embryo, because this embryo is becoming a baby boy and we don't want to have female features in the baby boy. So the presence of a hormone called anti-Mullerian hormone leads to the disappearance of the paramesonephric ducts in the baby boy fetus. Now let's understand differentiation of female genitalia. After fertilization, if the baby is to become a female or a girl, because there is absence of a Y chromosome, there is no SRY gene, and therefore ovaries have the chance to form. Also, because the anti-Mullerian duct is not there to prevent the duct known as paramesonephric duct or Mullerian duct in the female embryo, this duct has the chance to differentiate into the cervix, the uterus, the fallopian tube, and the vagina in a girl fetus. Girls do not also have testes, and therefore they don't have significant amounts of testosterone. And we know from the previous explanation that testosterone are produced by testes. So if there is no testes, there is insignificant testosterone. And therefore, insignificant testosterone will also lead to the disappearance or regression of the duct known as the Wolffian or mesonephric duct that is supposed to differentiate into a male features. This is how differentiation into either a female genitalia or a male genitalia takes place after fertilization to help determine the sex, biological sex of a baby. Now, someone may ask, what happens if everything I've spoken about, the paramesonephric duct and the mesonephric duct, they are all coexisting? This will give rise to what we call intersex. Intersex is a term that describes a variety of conditions whereby a person is born with features that cannot fit into a female or fit into a male. So we give them the term intersex. Previously, there were terms like hermaphrodites, but currently we don't use hermaphrodites because it is not the right term. So in humans, if somebody is having both female sex organs and male sex organs, the term is known as intersex. Intersex is understood better when an individual who has XY, typically a male, but physically the person will be appearing with breasts, or an individual who has XX, typically a female, but the person will be appearing with male pattern of hair growth. The voice will be deep than girl's voice. There will also be maybe a ruminant penis hanging there in the place of clitoris. Instead of a clitoris, there will be a ruminant penis, we call it, hanging there. These are all conditions arising due to the persistence or the coexistence of both female ducts and male ducts. Another conditions that can fit into intersex are what we call androgen insensitivity syndrome. This is a condition whereby a person is born genetically as a male, XY, but because the body cannot respond to androgens, there is the persistence of external female genitalia or external female features such as breast development. These people also have very small penis, as their scrotum and other internal organs are not properly developed. Another example of intersex is congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Congenital adrenal hyperplasia is also someone who has XX, genetically a female, but because there is excess of androgens, and androgens are from male hormones, and this is how sex determination in humans happens genetically. This is also how the X and Y chromosomes influence the development of our features that define us as boys or girls. This is also how some women end up having only female children or only male children. And as I said earlier, if you find a woman in this situation, most of the time, people who have no background in this science information or science knowledge, they'll be blaming women for nothing, because based on what I explained, women are not the determinants of the sex of the babies. Even men who carries the X and Y chromosomes that determine the sex of the baby, they are not also the determinants of the sex of the baby, because they don't control what sperm to release. Thank you for watching this video, and I believe you have learned something. Don't forget to like, share, and comment.